Hello Graphics Card Seeker. I will help you to make good decision to purchase one graphics card. Nvidia and AMD seriously want to offload current-gen GPUs. In the lead-up to next-generation GPUs, current graphics card prices continue to dominate the discussion. We are expecting next-gen graphics to be unveiled in a few months, and it feels like Nvidia and AMD are getting desperate to sell their current stock at the highest possible price before new cards are announced. There are still a few horrible deals out there, a few decent buys, and of course some news to talk about in our latest GPU pricing update. In the last week, Intel's Arc A380 has become available to pre-purchase in the United States ahead of its August 22nd release. For $140, the ASRock Challenger Arc is now up on Newegg as a backorder product, using a very basic design, but that's to be expected in this entry-level segment. Unfortunately for Intel and ASRock, the A380 is not competitively priced if the $140 pricing holds true. Currently, you can purchase the Radeon RX 6400 for $135, and we recently found across a 51-game benchmark that the A380 is on average 9% slower at 1080p. Intel's GPU does have a few advantages like media encoding support and more display outputs, but the A380 isn't a good buy at $140, especially as the RX 6400 is already a pretty horrible GPU. We believe the A380 needs to be priced closer at $100 to become an attractive budget proposition. We've also been reporting that Nvidia and AMD are apparently eyeing off further price reductions for current generation GPUs at the end of August. This is more of a rumor from Chinese news outlets, but it's been widely reported already. Nvidia GPU pricing. As of writing this, we don't know whether any further official price cuts will be made. However, it's likely that Nvidia and AMD will continue to try and sell their existing inventory at lower prices the closer we get to new GPUs. So it's definitely something to keep in mind towards the end of this month and next month. There is still a significant backlog of new GPUs yet to be sold based on what we're hearing, and current prices for many models are still quite unattractive. Speaking of unattractive graphics card prices, let's look at Nvidia's lineup for the month of August based on current retail pricing. Last month we did see some official price cuts for a few of their high-end models, but further price movement has been slow in August, with cards dropping by just 6% on average. This includes any rebates available on Newegg, but doesn't include any flash sales like EVGA selling an RTX 3090 Ti for $1,150 for a few days, although that price is still not great. The main issue with buying an Nvidia card at the moment is that the top of the lineup are discounted below MSRP but are too expensive in the face of next-gen products that we expect to be much faster. Meanwhile, the lower part of Nvidia's offerings are still significantly inflated, particularly for cards like the RTX 3060 and RTX 3050, which should be at MSRP or lower at this point. Trying to sell an RTX 3060 for nearly $400 is madness in the current market given the supposed launch pricing of $330, which even today is basically a myth. Even today we haven't seen enough price movement across the GeForce 30 series to say you should jump in and make a purchase. What we're looking for at the very least is tier below pricing, so the price of an RTX 3080 becoming the price of an RTX 3070, and so on. Higher-end cards like the RTX 3080 Ti and above will need more than tier below pricing to be worth recommending, too, given their extremely overinflated launch MSRPs. So none of these cards scream buy at the moment, and we'd like to see at least another 20–30% price reduction before recommending you to purchase. Price drops have been too slow to keep up. AMD GPU pricing. On the Radeon side, we've also seen a 6% drop in pricing on average, though this situation is a little more palatable given the majority of AMD's lineup is sitting at or below MSRP. Single-digit drops for the mid-range and mainstream options continue to push the price a decent level below MSRP, and some of these cards are good value, especially considering the Nvidia competition is yet to reach the advertised launch price. Before we thought cards like the Radeon RX 6600 had reached a price floor, but it turns out there's still room for those cards to get cheaper, even though it's unlikely we'll see next-gen cards targeting below $300 until well into 2023. AMD does suffer from some of the same issues as Nvidia when it comes to higher-end models though, especially the RX 6950 XT. This card is ludicrously priced at $1,000 when the 6900 XT has fallen to $700, so it makes no sense to buy the slightly faster flagship variant. That card needs a huge discount to be worth considering. And while the 6900 XT at $700 is a 30% price drop relative to the MSRP, That's merely bringing it in line with the price to performance of the RX 6080 XT. After all, the 6090 XT is currently about 10% more expensive than the near MSRP 6080 XT for about 10% more performance. When considering imminent next-gen products, anything in the Radeon 6080 series and above should be sitting closer to $500 to get good value in our opinion. As silly as this might sound given how far it's fallen, we think the 6090 XT needs to get cheaper. While tier below pricing is yet to occur in the high end, it has been occurring for the mid-range and below. The Radeon 6070 XT has fallen steadily over the last few months to sit just below $400 now, which is getting close to the MSRP of the 6060 XT. In turn, this is pushing the lower end of the stack lower, and honestly the Radeon 6070 XT at that price isn't too bad. If it gets down to $350, that would be a very compelling deal given how unlikely is that we'll see next-gen $400 GPS this year. With that said, the Radeon 6050 XT and RX 6040 aren't great and both should be priced well below $150.